Before you even start the application, I would highly suggest you begin your Xxx application. Hey guys, it's Angela, and today I'm going to talk about how to successfully apply for your UK HPI visa. Now, I just started my visa application 3 weeks ago, and just 3 days ago, I finally gotten my HPI visa, so yay! Going to the UK. Now, there's not a lot of videos out there that talks about this new visa because it's obviously new. UK just made this visa at the end of May, where it allows qualifying individuals from qualifying universities that they graduated from to come to the UK and essentially just be there. You can find work or you can start a business there. So if any of you guys are interested in starting a new chapter of your life and heading to the UK, this may be a helpful video for you guys. So before we dive into the nitty-gritty of the UK HPI visa, just to give you guys some background context about my situation, as it was pretty special. I'm a US citizen that is applying for this UK visa in China, but the overall application process, as in the filling out the application online, is essentially the same for everybody. But I'm just going to give you some of my tips and advice and my journey to this UK visa. So before you even have that thought to go to the UK, you got to make sure that your university that you graduated from are from the list that the UK government put out. Here are some of the couple universities on the list. Now, after you find that your university is on the list, then you really have to start thinking about, okay, is this what you really want? If this is what you really want, before you even start the application, what I mean by that is going to Google, search on how to start the application. I would highly suggest you begin your Xxx application. Now, what is the Xxx application? The Xxx application is part of your UK HPI visa application. Now, what an Xxx does is that it verifies and tells the UK government that you are legitimately graduated from that university and that your degree is legit. Now, this application process takes 30 days. I believe 30 working days. So if you decide to head to the UK at a certain time, make sure to factor in those 30 days before you start your application. Because let's say you start your application and they need your Xxx in order to begin your application. Well, now you have to wait an extra 30 days. And that may be an obstacle for you if you already bought your ticket to the UK. For example, you want to go to the UK in June and you start applying for this visa in May, like beginning of May, because this visa says it takes a turnaround time about 3 to 4 weeks. Now you think you would be like, oh, it's fine, you know, my flight ends in June, I could start beginning of May, I'll definitely get my visa back in time. But hey, you gotta remember, there's that Xxx document. So if you don't have that, they can't really process your application. So make sure you get your Xxx document first before you start applying for the UK visa. Another thing regarding to the Xxx document is that if you are not from an English-speaking university, for example, if you graduated from Hong Kong University, you have to get 2 Xxx statements. So one is called, let me check, Academic Qualification Level Statement. That statement just verifies that you legitimately graduated from that university and that your degree is real. The second statement is the Academic Qualification Level Statement and English Level Proficiency Statement. That's very long, but there's 2 statements if you're not from an English-speaking university. So you might ask, how much is the Xxx statement cost? One Xxx statement is £210, so factor that into your home currency. But I just need to pay for one statement that just verifies my degree because I graduated from an English-speaking university, NYU, so I don't really need the other statement. But if you do need the other statement, please consider paying £410. So that's something to factor into your cost. Second thing is make sure you have $3,000 prior to starting your application. Now, this is from a perspective of just needing one Xxx document. Now, you may ask, why is this so expensive for this application? And I didn't know until I started applying, but this application, once you start to apply and finish, you have to pay for the health surcharge and the application fee all at the same time. Now, what is the health surcharge? The health surcharge is UK's health insurance that you get. Now, the health insurance is £624 and you have to pay that every year. So for example, again, my HPI visa is for 2 years. So I have to pay £1,284 just for the health surcharge alone, and then pay additionally on top of that for the application fee, which is £715, and you can convert that to your home currency. For me, it was around $1,500 that I have to pay out of my pocket. and I didn't know it would be that expensive, so prepare ahead of time. Now, if you have a master's or a PhD in those qualifying lists, you can get up to 3 years of the HPI UK visa, which means that you will have to additionally pay the £624. So that will make your cost close to $2,000-ish, because factoring in your etiquette application. So make sure your bank account, in my case, have $3,000 so you're well prepared to pay upfront these fees, because or else your application is not going anywhere. So the third thing is you need to make sure you have £1,270 in your bank account. This is also needed for your application. Basically, you need to prepare a bank statement that states that you have that amount of money in that bank, because the UK government needs to make sure that you have enough money to support yourself, and that is the requirement, that the minimum requirement they have for that application. So make sure you also prepare money for that. Put it in your bank account. If you have been in the UK for past 12 months, you don't need to have that amount of money in that bank account, because you can also apply for this visa in the UK, but your turnaround time will be 6 weeks around. But if you are outside the UK, your turnaround will be 3 weeks. But now with everything that's going on, I would say it's around 4 weeks. Now, the fourth thing is, if you are in these lists of countries, I'll also provide a link down below. You need to take a test called the TB test, the tuberculosis test. It's like this. You can search it up what it is. I searched it up and I still don't really know what it is. I think it's a skin disease. I'm not sure, but it's really easy. In my case, I just went up to the closest clinic around me and I just said, can I take this TB test? And they're like, okay, pay the money, pay the fee, and make sure you have that document in English, because all the documents that you submit to this application needs to be in English. So if you can't find your document in English, you need to find a notary office to translate everything in English, so that may be additional fees, so keep that in mind. Now, in my case, I had to do the TB test even though I'm an American citizen, because if you live in a country for 6 more months, you are considered part of that country for this application. So let's say you lived, in my case, I lived in China more than 6 months, so I have to do that TB test even though I'm an American citizen. So the last 6 document you would need to prepare is if you are applying for your partner or children. So what they want is, first, if you are applying with your partner, because the HPI visa allows you to bring your kids and your partner to the UK. For partner, you got to make sure you provide that marriage certificate, and if you have kids, you got to provide their birth certificate. Okay, so by now you have gathered all your documents and you are like, yes, I'm going to the UK, can't wait to start my new life. You need to time your document, your application process. So I'm going to tell you my experience. I started my application process July 14th. That means so what I mean by that is I went to the VFS center and submitted my biometric fingerprints. So you need to do that in order for them to actually start the application process. Now, I finished my application online way earlier. So the application process for them to decide doesn't really start until you submit that biometric fingerprints. So I essentially completed my online application. I paid everything July 1st, and then I booked the appointment for my biometrics July 14th. And it really depends on your country, but China, the appointment to submit my biometrics was really easy to get appointments, and this may be different from your country. I heard from the United States, some places it's hard to get the appointment in, so keep that in mind for your application process. But in my case, completed my online application process July 1st, submitted my biometrics July 14th, got my visa back August 3rd. So the earliest you can apply is 3 months before your biometric fingerprint date. So keep that in mind, because once you get your visa back, there is a 90-day vignette period, which means that you have 90 days to get into the UK before your visa expires. And the 90 days vignette start when they approve of your visa. So when I got my visa back, they actually approved of my visa July 30th. So I have until October 30th to get to the UK, which it's definitely fine because I get to the UK October 13th. So just to factor this all in, this is from my personal experience of this whole timing thing, because it's really important. And I would say the latest to apply is 6 weeks before your departure date, because of all of those other factors. Now I want to give you guys some tips, I guess, in terms of filling the online application out. You may encounter some weird questions. One of them that I encountered was, how many times have you visited these listed countries? And US was one of them. Now, I didn't know what to answer because I'm an American. I never really visited the US. I'm going home to the US. So I just put 0, because if you put 5, 6 times, or like random number 28 times, you have to fill in 28 dates, because they make you fill in all the times you head to the US, and that's just such a hassle. So I just put 0 because I thought it was just a silly question. Now after that, they also ask you, well, how many times have you visited in these listed countries? Now, I can't remember how many countries I've been to for the last 10 years, so I just put 2 countries that I remembered in my head. Don't get too caught up listing every single historical travels, because like realistically, they're not gonna be really checking, because I got a new passport and all my previous travels are in my old passport. I was told on the document to bring in my old passport just in case, but when I went into my appointment and asked the lady, I was like, oh, here's my old passport to provide evidence of my travels. She's like, I don't really need it, just submit your new passport. So that just tells to me that they don't really care. So just make sure you put minimum 2 travels so they can see you put in some effort in. So in the application process, you also need to provide your place of stay in the UK. Now, since I was dead set on going to the UK, I already pre-booked it's a homestay program, but let's just say Airbnb for this, and you would need to write down the address and everything. So now if you don't have a place to stay yet, they also have the option for you to say no, and then you have to write your whole plan on how you're gonna get that place to stay while you're in the UK. And this can be with Airbnb, hotel, family and friends. It's pretty easy, and they just wanna make sure that you have, a place to stay once you get to the UK. Also, you have to prepare a place to pick up your BRP, which is your resident permit, once you get to the UK, and that is in any post office near around you. Make sure you have a zip code of a post office that you want to go to pick up your VRP. I really just didn't know anything. I wasn't aware of that until during the application, but thankfully I knew the country where I wanted to go, which is Scotland, and I knew the city, Edinburgh, so I just picked a postcode that I can easily walk to once I get there. So be prepared to have a zip code available. After you go through the application, the last step is obviously pay your money. Now make sure that, so I paid with a credit card, and I didn't know that my credit card had a certain limit, which was $2,000, and the application fee was past that, and I didn't know until after I submitted everything and closed out all the windows that I received email saying your payment didn't go through. But the thing is, you cannot go back to repay anymore. For some reason, the system does not allow you to do that. So I had to essentially cancel my application and then do a refund, because they actually charged my card even though they emailed me that they didn't, which was such a hassle. But make sure you have, your bank has money or your credit card has that limit, because once you're entered in the payment window, it's your last payment window. Once everything is exited and application submit, you cannot go back again unless you cancel your application and do a refund. Now, after you paid, it guides you to a third party. It will lead you to a third party site, VFS Global, which lets you make your appointment and submit your biometric fingerprints. And once you make your appointment, you have all your documents ready, you go to that appointment, submit your fingerprints, and then you just wait. And that's basically how you get your HPI UK visa. So I hope this video can reassure some people when applying for their UK HPI visa and also give some perspective of the time frame of obtaining this visa. And if you have any questions, please write down in the comments down below and I'll try my best to reply to any of you guys that have questions about this application process. So see you guys next time. Bye!